engineer at Fleek. Today, I'm here to share a lot of interesting things with you regarding the entire data economy hackathon, regarding how we are participating in the data economy hackathon, and most importantly, how you can build using Fleek and win from a big prize pool of the bounties that we have. To explain all of this very nicely, I have a quick little presentation for all of you that I would like to share. And once this presentation is done, I would walk you through some of the tools and CLI and the SDK that we have. And using all of these tools, you will be able to build your own application. Now, we have a lot of interesting features when it comes to hosting, when it comes to using IPFS, when it comes to pinning your file. So, if at any point you are unclear about anything, please don't hesitate in reaching out to me. We are available on the Telegram chat. We are available on our Discord as well. I'm available anywhere. So, you can just ping me, ask me whatever questions you want. And I'm super duper happy just helping you out on any sort of issue that you may have, not just with IPFS, not just with Fleek, but in general with your front end and back end as well. Now, if all of this is looking good, Jan and Lynn, can I start?
Yes, I would also say one or two sentences. So thanks for the intro. And we're super excited to start this 10th workshop of the Interdisciplinary Consensus IPC Data Economy Hackathon. And for us, DoraHacks, it's an honor to host this hackathon. And we're super excited to also have different other workshop sessions and also have all the projects building on top. So feel free to start once you're ready.
Amazing. Yeah, we're super excited to be here as well. Fleek is super bullish on developers in general. So anybody who's building a good product, we're just here to help you out. So with that said, I think it's a very nice time for me to just quickly share my screen and show you all a couple of things that we have in store for you. I think, yeah, my screen share is now live. So let me start. So with Fleek, you can build lightning fast websites. This speaks to the performance of the product that you are building and how using Fleek, once you deploy it on Fleek, it just becomes more performant because of the infrastructure that we all provide you. Now, this particular technology is now existent for all these tech stacks that I've mentioned. And if you go through the platform that we will do in a while, you will be able to see all the kind of frameworks that we support. So if you are a Next.js developer, a React developer, a Vue developer, or you just tried HTML and CSS, don't worry. You can deploy all of that on Fleek, and we can help you scale that up using our infra. So that's zero effort on your side. Just deploy, and we take care of everything else. And I feel that that is one of the things that I'm most passionate about. And as a developer, you should always look for building more performant applications, because the second your website loads for even a second more, you lose a fraction of your customers, you lose a fraction of your users. So if you want to capture and incentivize more and more people on your platform, your website, your app, performance is the most important thing. So keeping all of that in mind, let us get started. The first and foremost thing is, how do you even build with Fleek, right? So the first answer to that would be using the Fleek platform. Now, the Fleek platform is extremely amazing because it requires you to not put in any sort of code into the website that we have for you. In just a quick while, I'll walk across the Fleek platform as well, and how you can register yourself, how you can upload your website's code, and how you can deploy it as quickly as possible. The second thing for all the amazing developers is the SDK, the software development kit. Now, using the software development kit, what you can do is pin files to IPFS, and you can pin all your files to IPFS or just some files to IPFS. And on the Fleek dashboard, you can very quickly see the hash of that particular file that you uploaded, or the content ID or the content identifier. That is called the CID, the SID, and you will be able to see that on the platform. Very, very soon, within a couple of days, you will also have the feature to pull all these content hashes and all these, CIDs onto the front end and then display them one by one as well. And I'm going to update you on the Telegram, the Discord, and even on Twitter whenever all of this happens. So all of you are updated. Next up, we also have the CLI. Please note, CLI stands for Command Line Interface, and the CLI and SDK sort of work together. Whenever you want to use the SDK, you would need a token, and that token will be generated using the CLI. And don't worry there at all. I will walk you through how to install, how to work around the CLI, all the good stuff. So don't worry. Of course, the commands are written right here. So if you are somebody who already has their application open on the side while you're watching this, the best thing to do is just to hit these two commands right away. For any Node.js application, React application, any JavaScript or TypeScript application, just go to your terminal and type this. And if you just have a computer in front of you, literally just have a computer in front of you, just type in npm install -g at fleekxyz/CLI. And npm is just an example. If you want to use, say, pnpm, that is up to you. You can use that. Now, finally, the most interesting and the most important thing of all of this is the Fleek network serverless function playground. This playground will help you make serverless edge functions. That means that you can just make a single JavaScript function and deploy it. Using Fleek network, it will become highly performant. It will get cached out throughout the Fleek network nodes. And whenever your application will be pulling that data, whichever node of the Fleek network or whichever edge is closest to you, all the computation will happen on that edge and your apps become highly performant. So this edge computation with the help of decentralization is the most bullish thing we have on the Fleek network. And you can make serverless functions with that right now. Today, I'm going to walk you through all of these variety of things that we have for you to help you build not just products, but projects that actually scale and become actual startups. So we have full journey already mapped out for you. And this is like the first introduction we have to all the amazing things that we have in the ecosystem. So with this said, let me also tell you some challenge statements that we have and how you can leverage these to build out your applications. Now, please note that we support developers building anything, right? Be creative, think out of the box, and build solutions that you enjoy and that obviously we will enjoy as well, and that actually solve a problem. So if you are coming to me with another NFT marketplace, what is an issue that you see in Rarible, in OpenSea right now that your marketplace can solve? And how do you use the Fleek CLI, the SDK in it, is also something I'm very, very interested to see. So therefore, please build solutions that are obviously interesting and fun to hack around, but also have a use case. Now, a couple of challenge statements. You can build an NFT marketplace using Fleek. You can deploy an AI search engine on Fleek. So this would be something like Perplexity AI, Google search, or what Arc has with its recursive search algorithms now. You can build a consumer-facing ZK Dapp on Fleek. ZK stands for zero knowledge. It is a form of roll-up technology that helps a blockchain scale very quickly. So if you have any experience working around a ZK technology, for example, ZK Sync, uh, taking that app which has that SDK and deploying it on Fleek, using some sort of Fleek serverless function around it is also very, very, very supported. So build something interesting around this zero knowledge world and just bring that to us, and we will help you not just finish that project and make it perfect, but probably give you a bounty as well. And next up, you could also build a DeFi dashboard. This is literally just fetching data from all the resources that you have and showing them on a beautiful dashboard that obviously aligns with the color scheme that we have. So the rainbow scheme that we have, or the black and yellow scheme that we have for the Fleek network. I'll show that in just 1 second. Finally, you could build a data aggregation snapshot or layer on Fleek. If you don't know what DA is, if you don't know anything around it, please feel free to hit me up after the particular session, and I'm going to help you walk through some fundamental concepts that you should know around AI, NFTs, ZK, DeFi, and DA. So all of that is something I can help you with, and you can trust me on that because I can help you build the entire application. All you have to do is put in some effort and, of course, finish watching this session today. And now, once we've talked about all these statements, please know these are just to get you started. You can build whatever you want. We are very fluid. Just solve a problem and build something interesting. Finally, the Fleek bounty is for $5,000. Now, the bounty is asymmetrically split between all of these use cases. So, of course, if you build something crazy around zero knowledge, you get a bigger chunk of the bounty. But if you build something easy like NFT marketplace with no added features that OpenSea does not provide right now, you will get a smaller chunk of the bounty. But since you are building, you will get something for sure. That is our way to incentivize and say thank you to everybody who's participating in the hackathon and, of course, hacking around Fleek. So $5,000 is the total bounty we offer. And we are very, very excited to work on these bounties with all of you. So, of course, a special thank you to the Protocol Labs team, the Falcon team as well, for arranging all of this and for giving us the opportunity to speak to all of you. Now, moving forward, how do you get to support, right? If you obviously you'll run into errors, obviously you'll have problems. So, how do you walk around and solve these problems and make sure that whatever you are actually works, working on actually works, right? First thing is obviously attend this particular developer workshop. This time and all you can now ignore because you are actually attending the workshop right now. Second one would be the Fleek documentation. Anything that you need, any resource, any help, any support, all of that is going to be in the Fleek documentation. We talk in this documentation about Fleek from a conceptual point of view, from an understanding point of view, and of course, from a developer point of view. So how do you work around the platform? What are some fundamental concepts that you must know? For example, what is a gateway? What is a private gateway, a public gateway, etc., etc. All of that is beautifully covered in the documentation. And you could also come to the Fleek Discord, which is right here. So this particular Fleek Discord, you can just go to Discord in the search bar and search for Fleek, and we will pop up right there. And I can drop in this link later in the chat as well. I've already dropped it in the Telegram channel for the Fleek section of the hackathon, so you can pick it up from there. And come here, ask us your questions. We have an amazing team who is dedicated to helping you out and building good applications. And finally, this is the Telegram chat that we have. So just, bit.ly/fleek-data-econ. And that's it. So once you go through all of the hoops that I'm going to show you today, jump across all of them and still face problems, this is the best place to come to and ask your questions before moving forward. You can take a screenshot of this page. You can go through all of these links right now. And if not, just ping me later and I'm going to share all of these with you. I'll be more than happy to do that. With all of this said, I think now I've got to show you some amazing things on the Fleek code playground. So Fleek is optimized to facilitate the deployment and running of performant, geo-aware, decentralized web and edge services. All right. So now edge computation is a very famous cloud concept in general, right? This is when your computation is not happening at like a bigger centralized node, but on the edge that is existing between different nodes, right? Please note that this edge is also a computer, right? It's just the closest one to you. It's the one that is going to run all these performance and all these computations for you. But with Fleek, the way we've designed this entire ecosystem, this entire network, is that the node or the edge, rather, the edge that is the closest to you, the computer that is the closest to you, is always going to be the one to respond to you. And all the data that is on, for example, IPFS, is already something that we can talk to, we can pull in, and we can show you. So any file that you put on IPFS is something the Fleek network can pull in, cache it around the nodes on the network, and present to you in the fastest way possible. Next week, we are going to release a set of results on how Fleek compares to different providers in the ecosystem, especially for these edge functions. And I'm very excited to announce that those results are amazing. And if you as a developer are interested in deep diving into how that happened, stay tuned because I'm going to share that in the group as well. Now, if you are interested in trying out the Fleek network's power yourself, let us start with that only, because that is the most fun thing you can hack around today. And I want to walk you through that. So with this, I think, that's the end of this slide, but don't leave yet because we still have to go through some of the CLI features, SDK features, and of course the platform for me to help you out and deploy things. First things first, let us start with the Fleek Network Code Playground. All right, you can all use this particular link. So just code-playground.onfleek.app, and you should be able to see a website. So I will also open that website, and I'm going to share my screen then. I'm working on a hotel Wi-Fi, so it's a little bit slow for me. But if you have a good Wi-Fi connection around you, it's going to work just fine. But even with the slower Wi-Fi, the way Fleek works is just it optimizes everything around you and things work very nicely. So with that said, here we go. This is the code playground, which is, of course, the Fleek network code playground. And this is a JavaScript code playground. Please note, I was messing around with this earlier, and we built this out with a lot of love and a lot of effort for every developer in our community. So if you have any feedback around it, please let me know. I'm always open to incentivizing and helping people out who help us out. So with this, moving forward, let's make a new function. All right, function 2 is what I just created. I can delete the previous functions. I can create a new one with the help of this particular new button, and I can get rid of duplicate functions or stuff that I don't need. I can also get rid of all the functions right here and just create a new one from scratch. All right, so now you can already see that this is a very templatized JavaScript function. There's nothing crazy happening here. And when I go to the deployment section, I will be able to deploy this function. Now, deploying means that this function goes to IPFS, Interplanetary File Service. And once it goes there, all I can do is just look at this particular link. And you can take this link and put this into your React Next Node applications, and it will just perform. All you have to do is make a fetch request and Axios get request to this particular link, and it will start working. So to simulate that for you, we have the run environment right here. And I click on run function. It loads the output for me, and there you go. Hello world from Fleek, right? So amazing. Now, if I were to change this, hello world from Fleek network at the data economy hackathon. There you go. All right, this is now in real time. Okay, I'm not editing anything for you. And I, of course, redeploy this particular function. You will notice that it has started uploading to IPFS. Very soon, the upload will get completed, and a content identifier will get generated. Now, once this content identifier generated, you basically know that your link here has also been updated. So if you notice VXB2 at the end written right here, and if I scroll all the way to the end, VXB2 will also be written right here. This basically just means that each time you redeploy, this URL for you will change. And that is probably one of the most interesting things here. And we've already automated all of that for you. So you don't need to worry about any of that. Now, moving forward, the biggest thing that you can do again is just run this function, simple and easy. Now, if my internet works nicely, I can, of course, run this function. And there you go. Hello world from Fleek Network at the Data Economy Hackathon. This works flawlessly. And of course, now this is an edge function. So you can just pick this up, put it into your project, whatever output you are providing here, whatever computations you are doing here, all of that is going to be visible onto your product or your project as well. So take it there and have a lot of fun with this particular code playground. A quick shout out to the entire team that has built out this particular feature. It's amazing. And just one quick note, if you're entering a parameter, right, like this one, you deploy this particular function again, I'm literally just returning the parameter that I enter, right? So it gets generated, the content ID gets generated, and now I'll just pass in that parameter. But look at this. I'll pass in a string and I'll just say, I'll just say Fleek says hi to developers, exclamation. Now, please note that when you enter something in the parameter tab, obviously you can, of course, expand and make it shorter upon your wish. But there are also certain rules that you must know upon entering these parameters, and all those rules are available here on this I button. Now the rules are simple, that all the strings must be wrapped in double quotations, like I've done right here. All right, and the JSON, if you want to enter a JSON as an input, which is JavaScript object notation, you don't need to put any sort of quotation marks there. All right, but ensure that the key value pair exists like this. So this is a string and this is a key. So key needs to be in the quotation, but the JSON itself does not need quotations around it. Now, finally, numbers can be entered without any quotation marks. True, false, null, all of those kind of values can also be entered without any quotation marks. So please be very, very careful while entering strings. And of course, careful while entering JSON as well. So your keys have quotation marks around them. These are just some rules that I wanted to share around the inputs that you have. And this is just to make our developer life easier. Moving forward, we also have some, documentation for you around this. So if you want to use any sort of APIs on JavaScript, any sort of web APIs or anything else, all of that can be found here. And I'll walk through it towards the end of this particular segment. All right. So I'll close this now. And I already have my string ready here. I will run this particular function and see it responds almost instantly. And that is the power of Fleek network, that it responds almost instantly. Barely some milliseconds is the gap we see here. And that is probably the most interesting thing for me. If I were to change all of this, I were to just enter a random integer like 5, and I run this function, it is going to fetch that output for me as soon as possible, as yes, you can see, right? So all of this works in real time. Now it's up to you. You can make calculators using this. You can return an entire HTML file, which is going to look something like this. And if you return an HTML file, oh, my bad. Now, when you return, you can just go body, and of course, body. Now, I'm not the best at HTML, but if I just say hi, very simple, very straightforward, right? If I just say hi and I redeploy, these kind of stunts will also work. And that is the most interesting part about the entire functionality that you have around the network. And of course, if you want to explore more around this particular segment where you can use JavaScript APIs on the web, all of that documentation is maintained right here. So all you have to do is click on this link. It will open a separate tab for you. And in this separate tab, you will see a big white page with all the details available around the documentation. So you can just import these kind of things, import some Blake 3 hash content, import some messages, import some, byte length going strategy, all of these streaming APIs, web APIs, and all of this is available. I request you to please just spend 10 minutes on this page, build something interesting, and integrate that into your project. So now that you know that we have a documentation segment that also exists, I'm going to close this. I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to run this function and see what happens. In our experience, this has worked flawlessly, and it always returns HTML to me, right? The only segment that might get slow for you is if this particular function hasn't yet reached IPFS or hasn't been hashed across IPFS. If any sort of error like that happens, all you have to do is just rerun this and it will solve itself. Now, you can see I've returned this exact HTML, but if I were to copy this particular page, literally just copy this, and I've opened a new tab in which I paste this. All right, I'm going to shift my tab here. So I'm going to paste it in this tab, and I press enter. You will see that hi written somewhere, which is right here. And this website is now created using my Fleek Network Edge function, which is absolutely amazing. For my friends at DoraHacks who are sitting with me right here in the chat, I'll also leave this link here so they can also open it on their screens and just see a small hi greeting from me. And once that is done, we're going to move on. So this is all that I wanted to share when it came to using the Fleek Network Edge function. And I'm sure you guys are very, very excited with what we have around the Fleek network initiative and the network that we're running. Now it's time that I walk you through what the Fleek platform can do. And Fleek platform is literally just this website that we have, which will help you provide your app with all sort of hosting, storage, domains, content addressing, CDN compute, all these kinds of services inbuilt. All you have to do is just deploy. It's a 3-button process, and that's it. That is literally it. So coming back here, you'll see a very nice Thunderbolt. You'll see glow up happening around the entire website. I really love the design. And all you have to do now, so please focus, because this is extremely important for you to win that bounty. All you have to do now is click on Join Alpha. The second you click on the Join Alpha button, you will see this kind of page appear in front of you. It might ask you to log in as well. And I'm going to show that flow to you later on as well. But please note, you just have to enter your wallet address or your email ID when you try to join in, and you will get an OTP, and that's it. And once you put in your OTP, you will start working. OTP will come on your email. That is it. So this is what the Fleek platform looks like. On the Fleek platform, you can deploy your website. You can deploy your Next.js, React.js, Vue.js, Astro template, and this template will help you get started with your building process very quickly. And if you already have some files that you want to pin, what you can do is just pin them to IPFS. Now, as you can see, this is asking me to log in once again. Please note that anybody who wants to log in, and if you can't find your access or you get some sort of errors, that is simply because we are right now in the alpha mode with this platform. And I can whitelist you very, very quickly. So just ping me with your email or wallet address, and I'm going to add you to this platform right away. All I'll do is I'll just go here, I'll enter Kanishk at fleek.xyz, that is my email, and I'll click on continue. The second I press continue, an OTP will be sent to my email. Something went wrong. That is strange. I think that's because this web page is still loading for me. So I'm working on very low internet right now. I'm very sorry about that. But yeah, if I continue again and no errors shall happen, I should be able to move forward very quickly. But yeah, that's majorly how this platform should look like for you as well. And you may have no problems working through it. Oh yeah, I was right. It was an internet issue. I'm on 5 kbps right now. That's fast. But yeah, just to reiterate everybody, if you've come this far and you have any questions, the Telegram chat, oh, see, there you go. I get my OTP. So I'll open my phone, I'll reload my inbox, and I'll just wait for that OTP to come. It's going to come right here. And the second it hits my inbox, there it goes, 197513. There I go. So now it will verify this OTP for me and redirect me to the web page that we saw a couple seconds ago with all the features of the Fleek platform listed out for me. All right. So that's about it when it comes to logging in. And I'll quickly help you deploy a website on the Fleek platform before I go back. So we'll do that and then we'll call it a day on the platform. I'll show you some quick things that you can work around with the SDK, and that's it. So yeah, I'm just waiting for the internet to work out on this and we can then move forward. By the way, in the meantime, if anybody is interested, you can tweet about watching this session. You can talk about, hey, I just learned about Fleek. This is what I want to build. Does anybody want to build it with me? First of all, I want to build that with you. So DM me and I'm going to help you out, do all that jazz. But you can obviously find your fellow hackers and fellow developers because we have a very big community on Discord. We've got more than 60,000 people just sitting and building things out with you. So make sure that you are active and talking to the world about what you are building, because that's one of the best ways to get traction. And we might be biased if you talk a lot about building on Fleek. So, but that's just a side note and just a joke. But yeah, that's majorly it. Now let's move forward and do the simplest thing, which is I believe I can store a file or pin it to IPFS. I have slow internet, but that should not stop me. So you can, of course, see some files that I have stored previously. And all I did was click on this files button or, store a file button just one screen ago. And this is going to load all of this for me. We've got our GitHub, Twitter, and a Discord logo right here. So you can access those channels as well. Click on upload file, and your own screen will pop up. You can pick whatever file you want from your file explorer. And here you go. Mask1.png was a file that I wanted to pin to IPFS. It will get pinned very, very quickly. This is the size of the file. It's very, very small. It's a PNG. And you will be able to see it right here in just a couple of seconds. So the second that file pops up, you can use that using a gateway on whatever application you're building. The public gateway that we have is fleek.ipfs.io/IPFS/the CID. The ID is going to be this one right here. And you can just paste that and you can see that. So this is how your ID loading will work. And of course, if you click on any of these files right here, the file will load for you on a separate screen, and you can grab the URL for it and paste it wherever you like. And it will start working for you on a public gateway. So yeah, that's majorly it that I wanted to show in terms of uploading a file. Now we go back to sites, and I'm going to show you how to deploy a site as well, and then we'll call it a day. So with all of this happening right now in the ecosystem, the reason we are so bullish on IPFS and files on IPFS is that it literally promotes the ethos of decentralization, openness, and permissionlessness. And I seem to have gotten an internet issue, but this is the fastest internet I have. So you all have to stay with me here. So as you can see, this photo is also loading for me now. IPFS pinning and IPNS. These are some features that we have: IPNS and IPFS. Um, and yeah, that's majorly it. So that's what I wanted to show in terms of pinning a file. And I was talking about using the decentralized ethos, right? If your blockchain layer itself is permissionless, if your blockchain layer itself is trustless, then why is it hosted on a centralized service, right? Fleek is completely decentralized. So if you have everything, if you have a decentralized SDK, you are not using any sort of centralized database like AWS, like GCP, like Azure, but you're deploying your website on Vercel and Netlify. Now that's all right, but that is still centralized. They can shut you down whenever they want. I'm not saying they will, but they can, is my whole point. So therefore, it becomes very, very obvious to use a decentralized service that will never do that to you. And that will always be in support of what you're building. And that is why I am super bullish on the products that we have at Fleek, because using these products is the only and the best and the fastest way for you to build applications that support the ethos that you want to push. So with this said, now all my sites have started loading for me. Again, slow internet, but not a problem. And once these sites have started loading for you, I've already uploaded a couple of applications before, so you're almost sort of seeing those right now. But if I go on add new and I go on deploy my site, now deploy my site will be used if you already have a project that you want to deploy. And using a template will be used if you don't have a project and you want to start from scratch. When you use a template, we will take your GitHub, we will put a repository in it, which can be any repository that you want. It can be Next.js, React.js, etc., etc. We'll inject that repository. And of course, later you can clone that on your system and work on it. It is already connected to the Fleek platform. So whatever updates you do on that code will automatically apply to the deployed website the second you push those updates. So that is why we use templates to help you get quickly started. Therefore, if you don't have a project ready and you're still wondering, let me show you how you can deploy with a template and get yourself started right away. For that, what I will do, I will take a Next.js template because that is a framework I love with all my heart. I have worked on it for like 4 years now, and I've had no complaints whatsoever. So the Fleek plus Next.js starter kit has these configurations on the folder level. It has these commands that you can run. You can, deploy it using the Fleek JSON file that you will get already with the CLI. And yeah, that's majorly it. So when I click on deploy template, all it will do is, grab my GitHub. I will call this for data econ hack. Oh, I'll just call it for data economy. It'll create a private GitHub repo, but you can make a public one as well. So I'll just make a public one. I'll click on create and deploy. So now this particular repository with the Next.js and Fleek integration will be put into my GitHub because I've already given it access, right? So in case it is asking you that, hey, can you allow it for Fleek to access your GitHub? Please give it that access, because otherwise we will not be able to deploy this template for you. I guarantee you that we are not reading your code. We are not making it public. We are just putting a repository into your project system, into your repository section, and that's it. And you can also read that in the permission section. So yeah, that's about it. It will take a couple of seconds. It will now redirect me to a separate page where I can see this repository. I can see it getting deployed. And that is how I would use the template section while I'm hacking at a hackathon with Fleek. This is the fastest way to get started. This is a zero bug way to get started. With this, there are no bugs, there are no problems, there are no issues around whatever you have. And most importantly, this is the decentralized way to get started. So if you're building around data in Web3, if you're building around data in blockchains, do not put things to the centralized section, because that just breaks the ethos, right? And even more so than that, this is more performant. So even if you're at such a bad internet like I am right now, it works beautifully. And you will be able to see these repositories that we've injected into your repository section. You will have no problems there. And if you get stuck, if anything doesn't work for you, I can guarantee that our product team will jump at the chance of helping you, because they want to make sure that you have the best experience. As you can see, I'll open my GitHub really quickly in front of you. And this particular project has already been injected. It was injected like right now. This is the exact GitHub README that we saw a couple of seconds ago on the platform. And at least my website is now ready. I can just do go to the code button, and of course, using the HTTPS method, I can do git clone and just put this URL there. And now I can work on this project on my local machine. I get a very beautiful Next.js application all set up for me, and that's about it, right? I think here is what you will see, when your website is being uploaded. So right now it is being built. I'll just quickly walk you through the features on this particular page as well. So first of all, we have deploys. Every time you commit code, whatever commits you do will be available here on the deploy section. So as you can see, this is the basic commit message, which is also available on my GitHub, which is like this one, initiated deployment of Fleek XYZ Next.js template. And this same GitHub commit message or Git commit message is visible right here. If I click on it, you'll be able to see the build logs, whatever is happening on IPFS, because files go to IPFS and we build and compute from there. See, things are happening, and it will just take a couple of seconds and build this out for you. Now let's go back. Audit logs will come alive very, very soon. Analytics will come alive very, very soon. In settings, you can, of course, change the name of your site. You can change the slug of your site as well. So to access this, you don't need to go to Crooked Bird Small. You could go to winning at, or rather, winner at data econ hackathon, or let's just spell it out complete, economy hackathon. And you can already let me know that you are going to win this particular hackathon because you deployed your app on Fleek and you shared this link with me. So if you were just to go to winner at data economy hackathon.on-fleek.app, I'll copy this. And I'll also put this in the chat for my friends at DoraHacks to access the second this build is done, is that you can be accessing this website. And it'll take just 2 more seconds and 2 more minutes, rather, not seconds, to just finish this particular build. And it's already done. It actually took 2 more seconds, just by the way. And I click on this link now, and I can share it. So there we go. This is a Fleek plus Next.js template. It has Fleek documentation. It has Fleek blogs. It also has Next.js documentation and Next.js blogs. So using this particular template, now you can just get started. You can make edits to it. You can do whatever you want to it. Just make sure that whenever you are deploying this particular, or rather cloning this particular repository to your VS Code, make sure that you go here on the GitHub repository, you copy this, and then you run this, not here, but I'm just showing you an example. On your terminal, you have to run git clone and then run this command like that. So I'll show you that on the terminal as well very, very quickly, and then we'll be done. So right now, our project is, let me just quickly find it. There it is. This is how you can deploy a template very, very quickly using Fleek and build a very, very nice and a stunning application in almost no time. Now with this, I also have to just quickly show you the CLI, because with the CLI command line interface, a good developer can quickly scale up their application in no time at all. So I'll now share my entire screen so you can see how the CLI will work. Now, if you notice, just a couple minutes ago on this particular slide, I showed you how to download the CLI. The command is this, npm install-g, which is globally installing it across your system, at fleek xyz/CLI. So let me now terminal. I'll go through here. I'll clear my terminal, and I'm going to actually run this command, npm install-g, which is going to be at fleek xyz/CLI. Install. Now it's going to take its sweet time, install all the necessary files that you need, install all the necessary features that you need onto your system. Please note that all of this is safe. We are going to open source the code very soon. You can see all of that, and that is all in the roadmap. So yeah, you can very, very safely install it globally across your entire system. Now, I already have it in my system, so I don't need to do all of this. So I'll just Control-C this command, and I'm going to show you some Fleek commands. So whenever you want to access the Fleek CLI, the first word, the keyword that you need to type is Fleek itself. Now, if I go to Fleek dash dash version, which is again a very standard CLI command, you'll be able to see which version I'm running on, what is the current GraphQL hash, etc., 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 etc. Again, Fleek CLI is just a command line implementation of everything we saw on the Fleek platform a couple of minutes ago. This means you can log in using the Fleek CLI. You can select your project using the Fleek CLI. You can make a token to build an application using the Fleek CLI. And finally, you can also deploy your websites using the Fleek CLI. And if you are wondering, hey, Kanishk, how will I do all of this? I'm very new to the Fleek ecosystem. Just go to Docs by Us, and you'll be able to see everything that I'm talking about. You can see accounts, you can see how projects work. So basically, a project is the biggest thing you have. And in a project, there can be multiple websites that you can have, that you can deploy. And if you want to change your project, you would always change a project when you want to work with different people in that project. So projects are for teams, different people can be added to a project. And when you are added to a project, you can access all the sites in that project. So that is why project hierarchy exists. Then you can invite people to join your particular team. You can deploy your sites. And here is the CLI documentation as well. So if I click on the CLI documentation, see, this is the exact command I wrote. In case you have permission errors, add sudo to it. You can do Fleek help for all sort of support. You can do Fleek login for logging into the CLI, so far and so on. Of course, let me, of course, also do, oh, my bad. I'll just terminal. I'll open it once again and I'll log in for you. Fleek login. Now, once I log in, all I have to do is I have to control C this, and I have to paste this somewhere on my website. So I'll just open a new tab, and there I go. So now all I have to do is confirm signing into the CLI, and now when my sign is successful, I can go to the dashboard or I can go to the docs. So once you go to your dashboard, it will look something. Where is the dashboard? It looks something like this right here. All right. And docs, I just showed you. Docs are going to look like this. Now coming back to the CLI, see, success logged in. Now, this is the basic and the most fundamental thing you can do using the Fleek CLI. You can also add files to IPFS using the Fleek CLI. And the way you would do that is go to the file IPFS section on the CLI and just go Fleek IPFS add and add the file direction. So that could be if you are in the same directory as the Fleek file, you can just go add hello.txt like this. This is just an example and it will work. And that's about it. Now, if you want to use the SDK, I do have like a template ready for you. To use the SDK, the most important thing you have to do is, actually, I don't need to show my terminal for this. This is just a quick demo. So of course, this is a Next.js demo, and you have to install Fleek SDK. Now, I already showed you the way to install it is going to be npm install, Fleek xyz/SDK. That is the quickest way to install the Fleek SDK. When you install it in a Next.js project, it will look something like this in the dependency section. Now, the feature that I am using in the Fleek SDK is actually pinning a file using my website. So if a user uploads a file to my SDK or to my website, how do I take that file and put it on IPFS so that it stays on IPFS forever? All right. So to do that, what I will simply do is I'll go to the IPFS section and I'm going to add one single file using this upload to IPFS function provided to me. Please note that to activate the Fleek SDK, you need an application token. Without this token, things will not work. So if I go to the app or the index file where all the details are going to be, you will be able to see that this is how I'm starting my Fleek service by giving it a client token. Now, if you want to copy this token, be my guest, but this has been removed from the DB, so it won't work. But once you have your access token ready, you can start your Fleek SDK instance with that particular access token. And this is very, very important so that whichever file you are uploading goes to the correct project. So these app tokens are connected to projects. And when you go to that project, you upload a file in the storage section. Storage section is where is that? Storage section is this one. You will be able to see those files. All right. And the way it would work for you is just, Fleek and start the IPFS method in the Fleek SDK. And then all you have to do is call the add feature. And whatever file you pass as a parameter to this function, it will get added. You can obviously make it asynchronous. You can console log the CID or the content identifier. And if you have any errors, just as a good programming measure, console log that error and see. Now my linter is going a little bit crazy because of TSX, but ignore that. That shouldn't be an issue for you. Make sure that you import your files properly and that you work on it nicely. All of this information is available publicly. If you need help with it, I have an open source GitHub repo that is exactly this particular line of code as well. Just change your app token. And now let me just quickly show you how you would generate an app token. So we come here and let me make my terminal full screen. I'm going to add, and I'm going to hide this as well. And I'm going to come back to my terminal. I'm going to clear all of this. And the way you would generate this particular token is simply just go here, Fleek applications create. This is for your front-end based applications, for example, React, Next, any sort of application that has a client's mode to it, you would use Fleek applications create. If you are building on the backend like a Node.js server, you would use Fleek PAT, which is personal access token, PAT create, and that's it. So just pick any project that you want. I would just take my first project. And what is the name of my application? What is the name of this application token that I want to give it an alias? I will just say data econ demo. What labels do you want to whitelist? Very, very, very important. Because we want to give you a security where not randomly people are using your token and putting things online, we whitelist some domains for you that only those domains can access this particular token. Because this is a network request. And if you know anything about web development, you know that when an API call goes, whatever tokens you attached to that API call are visible on the network tab. So if I were to, for example, inspect this page, or rather inspect one of older pages I have, for example, the GitHub page, I want to inspect the GitHub page. And I open inspect right here, you can see all the details loading right here. And this network start will show everything. So you don't want to do that. You don't want your API requests to be publicly available like that. And therefore, you need to whitelist some domains. So the first domain that you want to whitelist, just look at the bottom right here, is going to be localhost 3000. Enter. Localhost 3000 because that is like the default server on which React, Next, all these will work. If you're using VITE as your template engine, all you can do is localhost 5173 and you are good to go. Down the line, you can also do Fleek applications update. And using this, you can sort of choose which application you want to update and add more domains to it. So when you deploy on the .on Fleek domain, you can add that to this particular token as well, right? So if you can see data icon demo, see it's already showing me. Just press tab, enter tab, comma, and for example, I want to give it a name or whatever. So for example, in the future, I call my website hackproject.on fleek.app. And if you want to attach your own ENS or DNS domain, what you do for that is, for example, you just go, for example, this is your domain. So mine is going to be kanishk.com. I add that as well. And all of this is going to get added to this particular token. And whenever this website goes live, they will use the same token right here and start working. So you will have no problems using the SDK. You will have no problems using the CLI and the platform itself. Now, I've been speaking for 50 minutes, and I hope that all of you had some fun, all of you learned something. And now I would take a brief pause, let you all digest this plethora of information I've shared, and just quickly round up things. So we have the Fleek network, the code playground we saw in the first section. We have the Fleek platform, which was the second thing I showed you, where we uploaded a photo, we deployed a template. That template was on my GitHub. Then I showed you the CLI using which you can log in. You can do everything on the platform, but from your terminal itself, no need to open a website. Finally, I showed you the SDK. How do you install the SDK? How do you use the uploading functions? And what is the application token? With this, now you are a proper Fleek expert. And if you have any questions, the documentation and I am going to be your complete source of support. And I'd now like to, bring the DoraHacks team back. Hi guys, if you're still there, and I hope you haven't slept by the end of this demo. Please take away the stage, ask me any questions that you might have or the people might have, and over to you.
Okay, so first of all, thanks a lot for this insightful presentation. I guess like the audience is experts by now about Fleek. They learned a lot about the platform, about the CLI. Maybe you could share, or let's give the audience some time to digest and ask some questions, but maybe feel free to ask, to answer one question, like how long would it take to deploy a full-fledged website with a lot of content?
Absolutely. That's a lovely question because I'm sure a lot of people who are going to be here with us would have a very big website they're building. It has not just the Fleek SDK, but some other SDKs as well, maybe some other API endpoints they are calling as well. So the total time to deploy a website on Fleek is like under 2 minutes. Even on the demo, my internet sucks, but it uploaded that file in like 2 minutes, 23 seconds. So it would, all you have to do is just make sure that you are deploying your code properly. You are, converting your Next.js application into a static site because that is what IPFS can handle. The way you would deploy a Next.js site as a static site is actually very, very easy. Let me see if I can show that to you as well. And yeah, that's majorly it. So that's probably the most important thing. And you're good to go. So under 2 minutes would be my answer to your question. Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's incredible. Maybe also share a bit more about what you expect from projects to build. Like you shared some ideas, maybe also focus on what you care about, like what developers should do in order to qualify for prizes.
Absolutely. So I want to be very, very honest and clear with the fact that even though I showed 5 problem statements, I do not want anybody to restrict themselves to those. If you have ideas, if you have creativity, build whatever you like. And the most important thing is to deploy it on the Fleek platform, use some sort of feature from the CLI or the SDK. And if you can integrate Fleek networks serverless function into your application, you are on your way to win the bounty. That is what I can tell you for sure. So use these features. If you have problems, reach out to me. I expect something that solves a problem. I know that homelessness is a very big problem in America, and there are people on the streets, but they all have a phone. So if using your solution and using your decentralized technologies, you could maybe solve that. You might be building a very, very impactful solution. So if there is one takeaway that you can have from building at the Data Economy Hackathon is impact. Use your skills to build a product that has impact. Use the Fleek technologies and you will win the bounty. That is all I would say.
That's great inspiration. We would also love to see some impactful solution that's helping people to have a better life and bring some value to their lives. Yeah. Okay. I guess that would be it almost. We could wrap it up. Do you have any final remarks?
I would say that I'm just very excited to be with everybody who's building here. I am very, very grateful to, of course, the DoraHacks team, the Protocol Labs team for helping us set up, for all their gracious help and efforts towards, just being and pulling us to do this particular hackathon. And Fleek is just very, very happy to be a part of it. And I speak for the entire company when I say that we support devs. And if you face issues, if you face problems from a devrel to a protocol engineer, I can pull all of those to you to help you out and build a product that scales and works nicely, because that's how dedicated we are. Our founder himself is very, very excited to see everything that you're building. So yeah, all the best, everybody. This has been lovely. And I hope to see you all on the Telegram chat or on the Discord or on my Twitter. So thank you so much for tuning in and see you all very, very soon.
So thanks to Kanishk, DevRel at Fleek Network, and thank you everybody for joining us today. You learned how to deploy a Dapp superfast on Sleek, and we're looking forward to see all the exciting teams building on top and submitting their projects. We do have also upcoming workshops in the next few days. I guess there's one on Tuesday, how to run a Dapp across interdisciplinary consensus subnets using general messaging. So like feel free to subscribe our Binance Live and YouTube to stay tuned and not miss out on any of the upcoming sessions. So like once again, thanks a lot for the great workshop and see you guys soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Thank you.